2 kilometers below the surface, in a world with no sunlight, no warmth, and no mercy, something massive is listening. It cannot see you. It doesn't need to. It hunts using sound so powerful that if it aimed it at your chest, it could stop your heart before you ever knew it was there. This isn't a myth. This isn't science fiction. This is a real animal, alive today, patrolling the darkest trenches of our oceans. And it has been doing so for 15 million years, largely unchanged because nothing has ever forced it to change. It has the biggest brain of any creature that has ever lived on this planet, bigger than any dinosaur, bigger than any whale before it, bigger than yours. And somewhere in that brain is a memory of the last time something tried to fight back. This is the story of the sperm whale, the deep sea's silent executioner. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why even the ocean's other apex predators know better than to test it. The shape of something wrong. If you saw a sperm whale for the first time, without any context, you might not even register it as a whale. Its head looks wrong, blocky, almost mechanical, like something built rather than born. That's because, in a sense, it was built by millions of years of evolution, turning one whale family into the most efficient hunting machine the deep ocean has ever produced. That massive block-shaped head makes up nearly a third of the animal's entire body length. On a large male, that's 15 feet of skull housing, something scientists still don't fully understand, an organ called the spermaceti organ, packed with a waxy oil that gives the species its name and, quite possibly, its deadliest weapon. For centuries, whalers assumed this strange oil was some kind of reproductive fluid, hence the name sperm whale. They were wrong. What they'd actually discovered was a biological sonar cannon. Here's where it gets unsettling. The spermaceti organ appears to work like an acoustic lens, focusing and amplifying sound waves generated deep in the whale's nasal passages. The whale can control the temperature and density of this oil, effectively tuning its own built-in weapon. And what comes out the other end is the loudest sound produced by any living creature on Earth. Louder than a gunshot. Louder than a jet engine at takeoff. Louder, some researchers argue, than anything short of explosive detonation. We're not talking about a whale song, we're talking about a click, a sound so concentrated and so powerful that at close range, it has the potential to disorient, injure, or possibly even kill smaller marine animals through sheer acoustic force. And the sperm whale uses this ability every single day, thousands of feet below where any submarine dares to go. Hunting in the abyss. To understand why the sperm whale is so terrifying, you first have to understand where it hunts. Most predators we fear, lions, sharks, crocodiles, hunt in environments we can at least picture. Grasslands, sunlit reefs, rivers. We can imagine the danger because we can imagine the space. The sperm whale hunts somewhere almost none of us will ever see. The midnight zone, a region of ocean beginning around 1,000 meters down, where sunlight has never once touched the water. Down here, the pressure is crushing enough to collapse a human lung. Instantly. The temperature hovers just above freezing, and the only light comes from bioluminescent creatures flickering in a void so black it feels less like an ocean and more like outer space. This is the sperm whale's hunting ground. Not the surface where we picture whales breaching and photographers snap postcard shots. That's just where it breathes. Its real life, its real war, happens a mile. Down, in total darkness, against prey that most humans have never even heard of. And it dives there routinely. Sperm whales can descend over 2,000 meters, deeper than most military submarines are rated to survive, and hold their breath for more than an hour at a time. Think about that. An air-breathing mammal, descended from land animals, has re-engineered its entire body to invade one of the most hostile environments on the planet, over and over again, every single day, purely to hunt. How does it survive pressure that would crush a steel hull? Its ribcage is hinged, allowing its lungs to collapse safely instead of rupturing. Its blood and muscles store oxygen at levels that make human freediving records look like child's play. Its heart rate slows to a fraction of normal, conserving every last drop of oxygen for the hunt ahead. But none of that answers the real question. How does it find anything to eat in a place with no light at all? The answer is the terrifying sound cannon. The sound that hunts for you. Imagine losing your eyesight completely, then being handed a superpower that lets you see using nothing but echoes. Echoes so precise you could identify a coin on the seafloor from 100 meters away in pitch blackness without ever touching it. That's echolocation. Dolphins use a version of it. Bats use it in the air. But the sperm whale's version dwarfs them all in raw power. As the whale dives into the abyss, it emits a rhythmic train of clicks, steady, deliberate, almost like a heartbeat cutting through the dark. Each click bounces off everything in its path. Rock, sediment, and most importantly, prey. The echoes bounce back, and the whale's brain, remember, the largest brain on Earth, reconstructs a three-dimensional sound map of its surroundings in real time. It is, in effect, painting a picture of the ocean using nothing but noise. But here's the part that turns this from a clever biological trick into something genuinely frightening. Many researchers believe the sperm whale doesn't just use these clicks to see. It may use them to attack. When a sperm whale locks onto prey, its clicks shift into a rapid-fire burst, nicknamed the creak. So fast it sounds almost like a creaking door, hundreds of clicks per second, unleashed at point-blank range against its target. Some scientists suspect this final acoustic barrage may go beyond simple detection. At extremely close range, a blast of sound this concentrated could stun, disorient, or injure the whale's prey before a single tooth ever makes contact, essentially fighting for the very air they breathe. Whether or not sperm whales use sound as a direct weapon is still debated among scientists. What isn't debated is this: nothing else in the ocean can produce a sound anywhere close to this intense. When a sperm whale hunts, its prey doesn't just feel threatened. It gets hit by something it cannot see, cannot escape, and, according to some researchers, may not survive the sound alone. The monster it hunts. Now here's where the story gets even stranger, because the sperm whale's favorite prey is a monster in its own right. Deep in those same lightless waters lives the giant squid, an animal so elusive that scientists didn't capture footage of a live one in its natural habitat until 2012. A creature with eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the entire animal kingdom, evolved specifically to catch the faintest flicker of light in total darkness. For centuries, giant squids were the stuff of maritime legend. The kraken said to drag entire ships beneath the waves, and in a way, the legend wasn't far off. Giant squids can grow over 40 feet long, armed with tentacles lined with serrated, rotating suckers designed to shred flesh. The sperm whale hunts this creature routinely, not occasionally, not as a rare trophy kill, as a regular meal, and the evidence is written directly onto the whale's own skin. Marine biologists have documented sperm whales covered in circular scars, some almost the size of dinner plates, left by the suction cups and hooks of giant squid fighting for their lives in the pitch-black deep. Some whales carry hundreds of these scars, a kind of tattooed war record from battles that took place a mile beneath the surface, completely unseen by human eyes. Picture that fight for a second. Two enormous predators, one with a beak that can slice through bone, the other wielding a sonic weapon that can vibrate to their very core, locked in combat in a place with no light, no witnesses, and no way for either animal to simply swim away and hide. The sperm whale usually wins. It has to. An adult sperm whale can eat close to a ton of squid and fish every single day just to fuel its massive body. Multiply that by a lifespan of over 60 years, and a single whale may consume literal tens of thousands of squid across its lifetime, including some of the largest, most alien creatures the ocean has ever produced. And yet, this isn't even the most dangerous thing about the sperm whale. The teeth that don't need to bite. Look at a sperm whale's lower jaw, and you'll notice something odd. It's narrow, almost delicate compared to the massive skull above it, lined with rows of cone-shaped teeth that can each weigh over 2 pounds. Strangely, sperm whales don't actually need these teeth to survive. Whales missing teeth entirely due to injury or genetic abnormality have been found alive and well-fed, proving the animal can hunt successfully using suction and its sonic abilities alone. So why do the teeth exist at all? Some researchers believe they may function less like standard hunting. Teeth and more like a weapon reserved for combat, locking onto struggling prey, or defending against rival males during violent, sometimes lethal battles for mating rights. Because, make no mistake, sperm whales fight each other too. Adult males, some stretching over 60 feet long and weighing more than 40 tons, heavier than a fully loaded semi-truck, will ram each other headfirst during mating season, using that dense battering ram skull as a weapon. Scientists have documented skull fractures and broken jaws from these clashes, evidence of collisions violent enough to leave permanent damage on an animal built like a living tank. This is a creature that goes to war with rivals. Its own size, using its skull as a battering ram, hunts prey the size of a school bus in absolute darkness, using a weaponized sonic boom, and has been documented doing something that, until the 1800s, no human being thought possible. It sank ships. The whale that fought back. In 1820, a whaling ship called the Essex was hunting sperm whales in the Pacific Ocean, the very same true story that would later inspire Herman Melville's Moby Dick. According to the survivors' own accounts, an enormous bull sperm whale estimated at 85 feet long approached the ship not as prey fleeing a hunter, but as something charging toward a threat. It rammed the hull once. Then it turned around, gathered speed, and rammed it again, this time hard enough to stove in the ship's planking and send it sinking beneath the waves. The crew was left adrift in small boats in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from land. Most of them didn't survive the ordeal. For nearly 2 centuries, this story was treated as an extraordinary outlier, a freak, almost impossible act of retaliation from an animal usually viewed as a passive, if massive, ocean giant. But here's the detail that should genuinely unsettle you. Whalers of that era documented other cases of sperm whales attacking ships, directly, seemingly in response to the deaths of other whales in their pod. Sperm whales live in tight-knit matriarchal family groups, and researchers have long observed something remarkable. When one member of the group is injured or threatened, others don't simply flee. They come back. This single trait, a willingness to risk everything to defend family, is exactly what made sperm whales such devastating and profitable targets during the whaling era, and precisely what makes the story of the Essex so haunting. It wasn't blind rage. By many accounts, it looked like retaliation with intent. An animal, sized like a small ship itself, deciding that the true threat wasn't the ocean around it, it was the vessel full of humans hunting its family. A brain built for something we don't understand. Everything you've heard so far, the sonic weapon, the deep-sea warfare with giant squid, the ship-sinking retaliation, becomes even more disturbing once you consider what's actually powering it. The sperm whale's brain weighs around 8 kilograms, nearly 6, times heavier than a human brain, the largest brain of any animal that has ever existed on Earth, living or extinct. Size alone doesn't prove intelligence, but sperm whale behavior increasingly suggests there's something remarkable happening inside that skull. Sperm whale pods communicate using distinct patterns of clicks called codas, and researchers have found that different clans of sperm whales in different regions of the ocean use entirely different coda dialects, passed down and taught across generations, almost like distinct cultures with their own regional accents. In 2024, marine bioacousticians analyzing thousands of these coda recordings found evidence of something resembling a structured communication system. Patterns complex enough that some scientists have begun cautiously using a word usually reserved only for human speech: language. We are not yet able to say sperm whales have language in the way humans do, but we can say this: an animal with the largest brain on the planet, living in tight family units, capable of coordinated retaliation and long-distance communication through regional dialects, is not simply a big fish with a loud noise. It is something closer to a deep-sea civilization we've barely begun to understand, armed with a sonic weapon, patrolling depths no human will ever comfortably explore. Why nothing hunts the hunter? In an ocean full of legendary predators, one question remains: does anything actually hunt the sperm whale? The honest answer is barely, and only under very specific conditions. Orcas, the ocean's other feared apex predator, have been documented targeting sperm whale pods, but almost exclusively going after calves, the young or the sick. And even then, usually in overwhelming numbers, because a group of adult sperm whales will form a defensive formation. Researchers call the marguerite, arranging themselves in a circle, heads pointed inward, tails facing outward like a fortress wall of blunt force weaponry, ready to strike any orca that gets too close. A full-grown adult sperm whale in good health has essentially no natural predator on Earth. Not because nothing is big enough to try, but because nothing survives trying more than once. The only creature that has ever posed a serious, sustained threat to the sperm whale isn't an animal at all. It's us. For nearly 2 centuries, industrial whaling hunted sperm whales to the edge of extinction, driven by demand for that strange spermaceti oil once used to light lamps and lubricate machinery across the industrializing world. Estimates suggest global sperm whale populations were slashed by more than half before international protections finally began in the 1980s. Even the most fearsome predator in the deep ocean, an animal capable of shattering wooden ships, battling sea monsters in total darkness, and wielding the loudest biological sound on Earth, had no defense against harpoons fired from a distance. Populations are slowly recovering today, but sperm whales still face threats from ship strikes, entanglement in fishing gear, and ocean noise pollution that can interfere with the very sonar system they depend on to survive. The answer: so why are sperm whales the most terrifying apex predator on Earth? It's not because they're aggressive toward humans. They're not, and dangerous encounters remain exceptionally rare. It's not because they're the largest animal in the ocean. They aren't even close to that title. It's because of everything working together. A brain larger than any creature that has ever lived, a weapon made of pure sound powerful enough to be felt as much as heard, a body engineered to survive crushing pressure a mile beneath the waves where no light has ever reached, a willingness to battle sea monsters in total darkness as a matter of daily survival, and a documented capacity for coordinated defense and possible retaliation that, once upon a time, was enough to sink a ship built by human hands. The sperm whale doesn't need to be aggressive to be terrifying. It simply needs to exist exactly as it is, patient, intelligent, and armed with a weapon evolution spent millions of years perfecting in a world of eternal darkness. Because down there, a mile beneath everything we know, in a place with no